Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome in to the virtual Nashville Superspeedway. And what a night we have ahead for you. Welcome into the new viewers and the old viewers alike. For the first time ever, the OP Racing Throwback Series comes to you live from PGR eSports. My name is Dawson Wise. I'm glad to be joining you here tonight from Nashville as we get you ready for tonight's PGR main event. But we're going to start the evening with our first of two races tonight, something I'll kind of explain later in the race is what I'm going to start calling the PGR Thursday night double feature. We'll start tonight with Gen 4 Racing from Nashville as we get ready to go for the 9th round of the 3rd season of the OP Racing Throwback Series. We're getting on the grid a little bit close on time tonight, but I never hurt anybody. It's a light field anyway, so it won't take us long to get through the grid. Unfortunately, not the numbers I was hoping for the debut for PGR eSports tonight, but we will put in the effort nonetheless and put in just as much work to give you an incredible broadcast product tonight. Again, if you are new to this series, this is under OP Racing's banner. You saw the Grand National Series last night with Austin Green, my colleague. But tonight, a little bit different. It's Gen 4s at all kinds of different racetracks. The first two seasons went through the 2001 season. One went through the first half, one went through the second half. And then from there, now this season's a bit more conceptual, a bit more all over the place, if you will. And we're going across the entire slate of NASCAR tracks, seeing what fun combinations that we can find. And boy, we found some fun ones this season. Bringing this over to PGR eSports, the rules a little bit different. They're not as different anymore. The Gen 4 package is the biggest rule, obviously. Now we're going a little bit further race distance-wise than a PGR eSports Intimidator Superspeedway Series race would. But nonetheless, the series is a lot of fun, a lot of great racing, a lot of fun finishes, and I'm so excited to bring it over here to PGR eSports. So hopefully all the traditional viewers from Turn 3 Racing Network have come over here. We're going to transition over and make Thursdays into a double feature. Again, a very light field, unfortunately, tonight. I was hoping for a little bit more turnout, as this is a fun track, especially when it's hot and slick. It's kind of fun to watch these guys wheel it, and tonight, another big round for several of our championship contenders. On the pole is the defending champion. That's Christian Strader in the 29. He will start alongside Matt Hayden in the 6 for Misfits Motorsports. Another brand new Valvoline Taurus. Actually, going back a little further is Matt Hayden. He's going back a few years even beyond the Taurus. He's gone to the Valvoline Ford Thunderbird tonight for this one from Nashville. Row 2, Brandon McLaughlin makes his debut in the series. Brandon McLaughlin, excuse me. Makes his debut in the series in the Irwin Tools Ford Taurus. His outside Rusty Modesty in the Dude Wipe Chevrolet will round out in row number 2. Row 3, Hunter Carlson in the 32. And Rod Sizemore joins us here on a Thursday night in the 12. Row 4, Bradley Young is returning as well in the 89. Michael Wingo in the 001. And rounding out a very light, unfortunately light field tonight, is Isaiah Dupree in the 86. Time for waiting is over. Welcome to a new era in the OP Racing Throwback Series as we go live for the first time on PGR eSports. And here we go. 150 laps lie ahead of us here in the Nashville Superspeedway, and the defending champ is ready to get it underway. Green flag is in the air for the first time. We're racing in Nashville. Lap 1 in the books, lap 2 on the board, and it's the defending champion, Christian Strader, who's out to an early lead, but it's not by much. And what you'll notice in this series over the course of tonight's race is that it may be a light car count, but when these guys get to battling, boy, it is fun to watch because we've got some wheelmen in this series, and 2 of them lead the race. Actually, 3 of them lead the race right now, Strader, Hayden, and Modesty. You weren't with us a couple weeks back when we were at the Pocono Raceway. These guys shared an incredible race as well. IRP was a notably good one as well in this series. Rockingham provided some interesting racing also. A very fun race. I missed last week, unfortunately. I did miss last week's race here in Pittsburgh. But this cars go flying by. by Matt Hayden was able to get the job done there and pick up his, I believe, 3rd win in the series, maybe his 4th win in the series, and really elevate himself in the championship standing. Schrader driving away early. Lap 4 is on the board, and now that we're kind of into a, not a lull, but the early portion of the race, these guys are feeling out the racetrack. I do want to explain kind of my vision for this series in terms of the broader picture of Thursday nights as well. As many of you know, or many of you may not know, we are now on PGR eSports, and that means that Thursday nights will also feature the PGR eSports Intimidator Superspeedway Series, which comes up about 10:45 on the East Coast. This series starts at 9. Typically, for most races, tonight's, I believe, is going to be included in that list. We're going to be done by the time PGR eSports goes green for its Superspeedway racing on a Thursday night. So, the idea, double feature. We're going to start a little bit of a throwback, take you back to the golden age of NASCAR, at least the golden era in terms of viewership, kind of the renaissance, I think, of NASCAR is the best way to put it, the mid-2000s. And then we'll take you out for some good old-fashioned Superspeedway racing after this race ends. And that's going to be the future vision for Thursday nights, because this series is a lot of fun. It provides something a lot different than what you're going to see after this. And then the Superspeedway series gets you on the edge of your seat for all races that we do over there on that series. For example, tonight, Nashville Superspeedway in the Gen 4, followed immediately by the Xfinity Series race cars at the Talladega Superspeedway, and it makes it a little bit easier to navigate over there. You remember, if you've watched this series before, I say at the end of every night, hey, go tune into PGR eSports. It's the Intimidator Superspeedway Series. Well, that process just got a little bit easier. Just click over a couple times, and you're now watching the second race of a double feature. So, excited to make this move. Hoping for a lot of success here in the future as this series makes the mid-season move to PGR eSports. I'm excited to have you all along with me for the journey. You will have to deal with me a little bit. I'm sure you can tell my voice is not exactly normal. I might have the sniffles at times tonight. That early fall weather has struck in full effect now, so it is ravaging me personally. So, unfortunately, it'll be a little bit hindered tonight, but we're going to get through it. Schrader continues to lead the way. A couple drivers up a spot. Modesty up 1. Bradley Young as well. But really, these front 3 are under a blanket. And Brandon McLaughlin, he's gotten his feet under him now. He's only about a second and a half back of these leaders. And the Irwin Tools Ford Taurus, the number 81 donning the side of that car. Also Sharpie aboard at Ford. Hunter Carlson's on the hunt, one of the guys that contends for a championship in this series. But McLaughlin, so far, hanging with the leaders, and Schrader, Hayden, Modesty, 3 of the guys that are good at just about everywhere that we go. So impressive so far from McLaughlin, but he's starting to struggle with the handling of that race car just a little bit. And this time he plants it in the wall, and Hunter Carlson goes on by. Schrader continuing to lead. Hayden's gotten to within half a car length of him, but that's as close as he has been able to get to this point in the race. The biggest mover in terms of time has been Rusty Modesty, who is pulled to within 9/10 of a second of our 2 leaders, trying to make this a 3-car battle for the race lead. Isaiah Dupree, by the way, is in the field, but did not take to the racetrack. He may be a late entrant to tonight's race. By the time he gets in, it's going to be it's going to be interesting to see if he just decides to run some laps regardless. But Isaiah Dupree, again, one of the championship contenders, not on the racetrack here tonight. Schrader, Hayden separated by a car length. Modesty starting to get closer in the mirror, 0.8 of a second. And again, this is why I say 8 cars on the racetrack, 3 of them are about to be battling for the lead by the time this tire run comes to an end. So you're now under a blanket. Well, Schrader starts to drive away just a little, at least from Modesty. Hayden maintaining. Not really much movement in terms of the groove on the racetrack. I kind of question whether or not these guys would move around, get out of the bottom groove, and try something different. But no attempts yet by the top 3 cars. They're all still running right down along that yellow line in the corner. Although now in turn 1, Schrader the first, and Hayden follows him to move up a lane. They're up to the second line. excuse me, in that turn 1 and 2. So a little bit higher there. Do they go higher on this side of the racetrack? Yes, they do. By half a lane off the bottom. Now they'll drive it down the yellow line. Strader able to ring it. Hayden not quite, but he gets a nice exit drive. And Hayden now within half a car length. He'll step a half lane higher, actually. Hayden's trying to experiment, and he's got some speed, and this is kind of similar to what we saw last week, although the roles have been reversed. Or not last week, 2 weeks ago, pardon. At Pocono, the roles are kind of reversed, where Matt Hayden led the race, and Strader started to explore a little bit, mainly over in the turn 3 end of the racetrack of the tricky triangle, and he went out to the fence. He's one of the only guys I've ever seen in many, many Pocono races that I've either watched in terms of NASCAR or gotten to broadcast or what have you, or raced even myself, that I've ever seen someone go to the fence in turn 3 at Pocono. But Christian Strader tried it, and to his credit, it worked pretty well for him. Until the late race speeding penalty took him out of it. Or late race pit road mistake, I should say, took him out of it. But until then, it was really intriguing to watch Matt Hayden and Christian Strader kind of play that game of chess, which is kind of what they're doing right now to a lesser degree. But at Pocono, a lot more room to navigate, a lot more grooves that potentially work. Apparently, that top lane up against the wall works pretty well. Happy to see everybody in chat tonight. Billy Cooper, rooting for Brad Young tonight in the 89. Currently runs a respectable 6th. And Big Roost in the chat. Yes, there are only 9 cars, but again, the battle for the lead is going to be the headline tonight. I know the field is light, but this battle for the lead, I'm telling you, throughout the course of this season, really the top 4 cars on the racetrack right now have been in a class of their own, and it's been incredible to watch them work. But yes, it is a very light field tonight. But we're making the best of what we have, and right now, it's a riveting game of chess between our 2 race leaders. And in these kinds of races where the field gets small, it's going to come down to tires, it's going to come down to pit strategy. Which of these leaders can call the best race to put themselves in a position to win? So far, it's all Christian Strader. He took the lead very early in this race and actually led off on the pole and has not looked back. Has led all 18 laps of this one so far. And yes, exactly. Exactly. It's a great point. It's not always about the quantity of the cars on track. Sometimes it is a spectacle. Actually, a lot of times it is a spectacle. Don't get me wrong. When you watch 45, 50, 55 cars take on a super speedway, it is pretty incredible to watch. But you can still have really great close racing with 15, 20 cars. And I'll guide you to the Tuesday Night Thunder Series, for example. We had, I think, 20 run Michigan the other night on Tuesday. The first time we've ever gone to a non-super speedway track in that series. And the racing, although, the top 4 didn't really change. There was interesting racing at the stage break. Go back and watch that race. It was very, very fun. I got to jump on track, and that was a lot of fun. So, do want to thank those guys in that series for letting me crash their party a little bit. But if you go back and watch that race, it only had about 20 of us, I want to say. And it was fun to race, and it was fun to watch because we really never got that far away from each other at any point in that race, with the caution flags coming out or the pit strategy or what have you. So that was a lot of fun, and it was unique. And we didn't have a ton of cars, and it still produced pretty great racing. Whether you're watching the race for 1st, the race for 6th, the race for 9th, there was good racing all over the racetrack in that race, and it proved you don't need 40 cars. Strader, Hayden, Modesty, still your top 3. Carlson, McLaughlin, Young, Sizemore, Wingo, the remainder of the cars on track. Modesty had made up another 2 tenths. He's making up time again, but he gets to about 9 tenths back, and that's as close as he can get. As we are already blowing through this race, 22 laps under our belts already. Strader's still ringing the bottom, and Matt Hayden, this is about as close as he's gotten. It's a car length difference. It was less than a car length on entry, and now is Matt Hayden's opportunity. As we approach this first pit stop, we imagine one of probably 4. That's traditional for this series. Matt Hayden, if he's going to get past him, he's got to go quickly. Strader's starting to struggle with handling a little bit. He's starting to lose a little bit of that early run speed, and Matt Hayden is waiting to pounce if he can do so. Matt Hayden, it was funny. Got to talk to him earlier in the week. He won last week in North Wilkesboro, but he had said to me that he only tends to win races that I'm not there for, which indeed I'm pretty sure is the case. He won at New Hampshire a couple seasons ago. I believe he won at Watkins Glen last season, and then he won at North Wilkesboro, and there was one additional race I think that he won this season that I wasn't there for. So maybe tonight's the night the streak breaks. If it doesn't, I'm sure he's going to continue to blame me as the reason that he is not winning a race in this series when it's broadcasted. But that was a funny story with Matt Hayden as he tries to run down our leader Strader with 25 laps up on the board already. We are almost 20% of the way through this race. I mean, it has only been about 15 minutes. This is... Or excuse me, yeah, 20. Yeah, it's only been about 15 minutes. This could be a record in terms of time it takes to run and finish this race. I'll have to wait and see. He thought the same about a couple of the races earlier in the season, and it did not come to pass. So we'll have to wait and see. Strader has moved way up now. He's in that third lane, and it's somewhat working. Now, he's not driving away, but he's able to do some maintaining. And he's not going to move up that far on this end of the racetrack, but on the 1 and 2 end, he has moved up quite a bit. Hayden's doing it in 3 and 4, and now that's allowed. These guys kind of roaming a little bit, trying to find grip, has allowed Rusty Modesty to pull within 6/10. This is as close as he has been to the leaders. He's actually moved up a little bit in 1 and 2. As you see how high Strader is, he kind of almost diamonds the corner. Man, Modesty, he's on a mission right here. He's going to get to Matt Hayden next time by on the front stretch. He's got a lot of speed underneath that car. They're going to have to negotiate some lap traffic here in a moment. Michael Wingo about to go a lap down. But this battle for second, it's almost intensified enough that we can go back and focus on it, but not quite. Pit stops will make all of this different, too, depending on how many laps in front of or behind the leader those two cars behind Strader decide to go. We saw 2 weeks ago in Pocono that even a lap or two difference made about a 3-second difference on the racetrack. So we'll wait and see if that is the case again tonight in Nashville. Lap time fall off. Best lap of the race for Strader at 30.33. Last lap for Strader at 31.53. He's about to run another one. 28th lap of the race for Strader's at 31.5. About a second and a half, 1.2 second fall off in just 29 laps, and 1 lap undercut, 2 lap undercut is going to mean a lot on pit stops. We anticipate about 35 laps to run. That's traditional for this series. They may be able to go a little further than that. We'll see. But 35 to 40 is now Strader moves up on this end of the track and gets held up just a little bit, but is able to drive it down off the corner. And here come the 2 cars behind him. Matt Hayden to pit road. Rusty Modesty to pit road, lap 30 on the board. Brad Young also on pit road in the 89 machine as he will make his first pit stop. And now Christian Strader, what damage will this do to the 29 in terms of the time that Hayden and Modesty are going to gain on pit road? So they did not make 35, they made 30, which means they'll have to make 4 pit stops at least and hope you can save enough gas on that last run. Or maybe you get a lucky caution or something happens. Strader to pit road on lap 30. Staying on the racetrack, Brandon McLaughlin. This will be his first official lap led as he crosses past the start-finish line. So congratulations to him as he leads his first lap in the series in his first race. Late addition today. Imagine he'll be on pit road this time around as Rod Sizemore will bring the 12 car to pit road this time by. Now as eyes look towards pit road, look towards the timing tower. Where will Matt Hayden and Rusty Modesty cycle out compared to our former leader, Christian Strader? I can tell you Hayden gained a 2.5 seconds on pit road on Modesty. And what did Strader gain? He's still on pit road. Where's Matt Hayden? He's just now past the start-finish line. And he's going to go past. Matt Hayden's going to inherit the lead. There's the lap undercut damage for Christian Strader. And now Matt Hayden is in the driver's seat in this race. Now my question is, they only went 29 laps. Strader went 30. Is there going to be a difference? When we get down to it, are these two, Modesty and Hayden, that is, going to have enough gas to make it happen at the end of tonight's race? Will they have to save a little bit, kind of salvage a little bit on these next 3 runs? I imagine they would, to try to make it towards the end of this race tonight. But for now, whoa, big slide though. He's going to lose a lot of that ground he just gained right there. Big slide on newish tires for Matt Hayden there in 1 and 2. But he inherits the lead. The Valvoline Thunderbird goes to the point on lap 32. It'll be Modesty second, and Strader drops to third. And now, in a race where we have seen barely any green flag passing, Christian Strader's in an interesting spot here. Although he did just run his fastest lap and the fastest lap of the entire race, a 30.03, which was just about as fast as his qualifying lap. Hayden puts Rod Sizemore a lap down. As Modesty and Strader look past the 12, and now we'll battle a little bit here for second. We'll look back here. Battle for second underway. As Modesty is being chased by the race's fast break Goodwrench Service Plus Chevrolet Monte Carlo of Christian Strader, the champ, and he'll dive to the inside. One of the first attempts at a green flag pass we've seen all night. He's going to set him up. Strader, can he get enough exit drive to get to the left rear of Rusty Modesty? Not quite. He's leaning right on that left rear, but can't quite get there. He'll look again here into 1. He may just lean for it here down into the banking. No, he will set him up again. Strader to the top. Modesty defensive on the bottom. Strader will drive it down the hill and gets loose. Can't quite cross underneath. Tires would not grab the racetrack, and Strader will have to settle. He'll go back to the middle. He'll drive through the middle of the corner. Modesty drives it in a little bit deeper and slides through the middle of the corner. And Strader back to his back bumper. Really great stuff here for second. 2 of the heavyweights of the series going at it on lap 36 as Matt Hayden says, yes, burn your stuff up behind me, please. That's exactly what I want you to do. Modesty running about a half lane off the bottom. Strader ran the bottom that time. Did not opt to run that upper lane. Must have felt something he did not like on that end of the racetrack. He'll go back to that middle, and he'll drive through the center of the corner. Trying to get back to his left rear. He's been really good on the apex of 3 and 4. Strader, that's been his best part of the racetrack tonight, is the middle of 3 and 4. Modesty's starting to equal out a little bit. Strader trailing by a car length. Maybe less now, off of 2. A little bit loose, but still able to drive down the hill. And this is, again, as close as he's been. One more time. Down to 3. Does he set him up again? He will. He'll look a lane high. A little bit higher that time. Now we get a really nice drive off, assuming that car doesn't step out. And he does get the nice drive off, and now he may take a lunge here. Strader looking, peeking, but not enough momentum. Will he set him up again? He will. He'll run a half lane, full lane higher now in turns 1 and 2 and try to drive through the center of the corner, but it steps out again. And no cigar. Christian Strader trying everything he can to get past Modesty, because I think he knows he might be the fastest of these 3 cars, but cannot make the pass for second. Battle continues, lap 40 already on the board. 10 laps short of a third of the way through this race, and it has only been about 20 minutes in this one. This race is going by in a hurry. Strader way up now, almost in that 4th lane. He's really trying to grab some exit speed now and see what works. And that did. Honestly, it looked a little bit better. He gains a little bit of what he lost. Will he do it in 1 and 2? It doesn't quite go that high. But does let the car really settle into the middle of the corner. And that's why he's been so good tonight. Is he's able to really roll the center. He's really driving the center of the corner well. Let's see if he goes up to that experimental line here again in 3 and 4. Nope, not quite that high that time. But that's because he got a little bit closer and now takes another lunge. Christian Strader, not close enough to make the pass, but will leak out of line just a little bit further than we saw him do. Now he'll go back to that experimental line up towards the top side of the racetrack. And he'll drive through the center of the corner. Seems like he's got a little bit of grip through there. And try to close back up the back bumper Modesty, all while Hayden stays about 7/10 in front of this battle for second. Really driving hard as Strader through the middle of the corner. He's got that thing. Boy, he kicked out to his right when he comes out the corner. Car in the wall in front of the leaders. It's Michael Wingo. He will get it corralled. Hayden has to dive to the bottom, though, and loses some of his lead. Modesty had a little bit more time to prepare. Now we'll pull to within 4/10. Oh, but Modesty got out of line, and Strader might pounce here. Modesty had to get out of it. He's going to throw the block. Door shut twice. Strader drives it to the bottom. Modesty drives deep into turn number 1 and maintains the spot. 2 straight blocks right in the face of Christian Strader. He slammed the door shut. And here comes Strader. There it is. He finally got a good enough drive, but will he maintain it? Has to lift out. Modesty drives the top. Who gets the better drive off? It's who can mash the gas to the floorboard faster. It's Modesty for now. Strader will hang to the left rear, and now he'll get back in line. Hayden really starts to drive away. Oh, man. Big drive off for Strader. He'll look again. Modesty throws the door shut. No look to the top that time for Strader, who's got Modesty where he wants him. He just has to complete the pass. He's letting Rusty drive as deep in the corner as he wants to and capitalizing on exit. And eventually one of these times he's going to make the pass. When he gets that big, wide exit drive off the corner, it might be right here. If he can stick that car without it getting loose, he might have the run right here. Nope, not quite. But he's getting close. One of these times, he's going to have enough drive off turn number 2 or 4 to get underneath the 5, and it's going to be all she wrote in terms of the pass, but it steps out. This is riveting. And now he goes back to the bottom. Sorry, that didn't work. Go back to the bottom where I've been so good all night and see if that works, and it gets him right back to the back bumper. So maybe you start thinking about ringing the bottom. With only 13 laps till the pit stop, you got to make it happen if you're Strader, if you want to get back up to Matt Hayden. When he runs up high, he's not really able to drive it off as hard as I think he wants to do. I think he wants to drive it down the hill a lot harder than he's been able to so far tonight. This time, is there an opening? Not quite. He'll lean, though. 49 laps on the board. He'll go back to the top. Now he'll kind of stick in the middle, and this is the line I think where he's best, is right there. Because he can really, well, he usually can drive it off. It gets loose right there. He's trying everything he can with now only 10 laps left until the pit stop. He wants to get past the 5 so bad. He's trying everything he can to get around him, and nothing's working right now. Now he starts to drop back just a little. Modesty starts to drive away as Hayden drives away from him. And now, Strader, you gotta start getting a little more desperate. I know you don't want to burn your stuff up with 10 laps till the pit stop, but you gotta get a little more desperate here. You tried playing it safe. Try taking what he gives you. That's not working. You're gonna have to get a little bit more extreme if you want to make the pass and get back up to the front. To answer the question, not sure if I'm going to be there for PGR yet tonight. And clearly, oh man, big wiggle there by Strader. Clearly, I'm not feeling 100%, so we'll see. I haven't decided yet, but regardless, I believe it will be Austin Green and potentially Matt Mettler, at least, in the booth for PGR. So for the Superspeedway Series, at least I believe those two will be there tonight. I'm thinking about it. We'll see. And actually, there is a confirmation now. It will be at least Austin Green and Matt Mettler in the booth tonight for PGR. So we'll see what I decide by the time this race ends. 7 laps short of our second pit stop of the night. Around lap 60 is when that will take place. Second of 4. It will leave us with just under 100 laps to go. In fact, we're already inside of 100 laps to go as it is. We have about 90 to go. When we make this second green flag pit stop, we saw what the undercut did last time. Just straight up think about it. Oh, man. That time, Modesty, I think, bit off a little more than he could chew on entry to 1 and got way high and now provides Strader an opportunity to wheel it and try to get around him. Way to the top goes Strader, this time up by the fence. It's not really driving off from up there. He's trying, but he can't quite get there. Still the battle for second is on. They're not really letting Hayden get away. He's only been able to get away by about 7 to 8 tenths. And it's about as far away as he's gotten all run. Now it's actually closed up closer to a half a second. And just under 8 tenths separate our 3 leaders as a whole. Oh, Hayden got close to the fence. So did Strader right there off of turn number 4. There you see our 3 leaders. Put another car a lap down. That's Rod Sizemore will go 2 laps down. Next on tap for the leaders will be Brad Young in the 89. Actually, it'll be Brad Young in the 89 going 1 lap down. All right, you've convinced me. Oh, pit stops. Took me off guard. Matt Hayden undercuts. He'll come even a lap earlier on lap 58. And I like the undercut until you realize that on that last run of the race, I don't think he's going to be able to make it on fuel. So I like the undercut until you realize these guys just can't make it. If these guys come right here on 59, they're going to be close to not making it. Modesty to the inside. He'll come to pit road. Oh, wait. There's potentially a problem on this car. He's way slow. Strader, will he stay out? He will. Schrader stays out an extra lap. And this may be the call that wins him the race. Because of fuel mileage, we'll see. But I got a weird feeling. Here comes Schrader on lap 60 to complete the second cycle of green flag pit stops almost. As Brandon McLaughlin will stay on the speedway again, potentially inherit the lead here. 90 laps to go. 60 complete. 15 laps short of halfway. And you have convinced me, I think. We'll see, but I think you've convinced me to jump on board. Jump on board for the broadcast for PGR. Yeah, there's going to be 4 pit stops. That 5th run is what I'm kind of focused on, because the shorter these guys cut it, the shorter they're going to be able to go when the race comes down to it. And you're racing on fuel mileage, you're not going to be able to make it. Schrader's the only one right now that I'm 100% sure he can make it. Hayden is 2 laps short now. Modesty's 1 short. In fact, Rusty Modesty, what happened to the 5 car? He's listed as a lap down. I wonder if he had a pit road penalty. And boy, what a costly one that would be. Well, Matt Hayden has opened up a 5.5 second lead, but I mean, he's got to go long on one of these runs now to make it to the end of the race. So, with 88 laps to go, Schrader will slowly run him down, but Hayden, if I'm him right here with a 5-second lead, I'm saving as much gas as I can, because I'm not convinced that he can make that, unless he keeps undercutting and he has a 10-second lead on that last run and he can turn the car off, which we saw, if you'll remember back to Dover a season ago. Austin Collins tried that. He stayed out and tried to gamble and shut the car off like Kyle Larson did. Every time he would go through 1 and 2 and then, again in 3 and 4. He would shut the car down and save a little bit that way. So, I mean, that's, if I'm Hayden, I'm saving right now, which he's losing time to Schrader. I mean, he's got to start saving. Now you got to make it. You got to make it to lap 90. If you don't stay on track, I don't. If you don't stay on schedule, I don't think you make it to the end of this race. And in that case, Christian Schrader may very well run away with another one, because he's pit on lap 30 and lap 60. He's perfectly on schedule right now to be basically running out as he takes the checker flag. So we'll see. Maybe I'm completely wrong. But I just don't see a path where Matt Hayden can make it pitting 1 lap short every single run. I don't think it's physically possible. Full field rundown here after our second cycle of pit stops. Matt Hayden is your leader. Run a great race so far in that Valvoline Thunderbird. Christian Schrader is second as he tries to run down the race leader. Hunter Carlson suddenly has found his way to third. Good run for him as well. The rookie Brandon McLaughlin runs in 4th position. And then you find Rusty Modesty, who I thought at one point had speed to lead the race. A mishap on pit road has put him in 5th, a lap down to the leader. Brad Young runs in 6th, the 89 machine. And Rod Sizemore runs back in 7th. Those are the last of the cars on the racetrack. Michael Wingo, I believe, has taken his car behind the wall. He has. And Isaiah Dupree did not start tonight's event. Almost halfway home. Here from Nashville. As Matt Hayden continues to lead, but only by about 4.2 seconds now over the second place car, Christian Schrader, who has chopped away at the lead. It was 5.5, now it's down to 4.2. And that lead is going to continue to dwindle throughout the end portions of this run. Now the question will be, getting there is one thing, passing is another. And Schrader will have to try to negotiate with that when he gets to the back bumper of the 6, one of the toughest customers in the entire series, dating back all the way to Season 1 in terms of how hard it is to get past that 6 car. Much like former drivers of the 6 car before him, Mark Martin and Ryan Newman, two of the toughest passes in NASCAR history. Matt Hayden, much the same here on Thursday nights. So Schrader has chopped the lead underneath 4 seconds now on lap 71, but again, getting there is one thing, passing him is a complete other thing. We are 3 laps from halfway. So glad you're joining us. A reminder again, after tonight's race, it'll be the PGR eSports Intimidator Superspeedway Series Xfinity Series cars at the Talladega Superspeedway. 60 laps of action coming up with a new-ish aerodynamics package. It's been updated, but it was updated last week. We got to see it in action throughout the course of last week, but some changes to it. So an interesting race upcoming tonight. So stick around on PGR eSports after this race for coverage of that one. Schrader has cut the lead to 3.7 seconds on Matt Hayden. Only 17 laps remain until the third round of green flag pit stops. And 2 laps remain until halfway. So the question is, who is worse of a pass, Newman or Martin? Well, yeah, I probably agree. It was probably Ryan Newman. But I don't think they're very far apart. I do agree. I think it's Ryan Newman. It was a little bit harder pass, but Matt Hayden will probably disagree with you. Big Mark Martin fan, and hence the constant Mark Martin paint schemes. Another one tonight. A new iteration of that same Valvoline car we've seen him run before. Schrader all of a sudden is losing time. He just lost 0.4 of a second. He was within 3.7. Now he was 4.1. Now he's going to have to consider undercutting. Last lap by the stripe, Hayden was quicker by 1/10. See what it is this time. 0.82 for Matt Hayden. 0.75 for Schrader, so he's back to gaining again. Just over halfway through, and halfway through this third pit run as well. And we continue to close the laps down until we find out whether or not these cars have enough to make it. Schrader, I'm pretty sure, is good, but Matt Hayden, I have some questions as to whether or not he is going to be good to the end on fuel. Hayden continues to lead. But Schrader now cuts away. 3.6 seconds. He was 0.3 quicker last time by. 31.1 for the leader, 30.85 for the second place car. And he started to cut down the gap again. 79 laps on the board. 72 remain. 2 pit stops left. Maybe 3 for a few of the leaders. Starting to look forward a bit on the schedule. As we enter into the latter portions of this season, this is race 9. Next week, it'll be the Charlotte Motor Speedway, NASCAR's backyard. Oh, trouble. Caution flag number 1. And it is for the 89 of Brad Young. Let's go back and take a quick look. What brought out the first caution flag of the night and completely now changes the complexion of this race. As he was by himself, car steps out, grabs it, steps out again. Gets it going off too, and oh man, slides and he tries to get it saved. Oh man, he almost had it underneath him. But slides to a stop, and that is what brings out the caution flag. Take one more look at it here. So he has it there. He's got it saved, and as he hooks back left, it grabs, and he slides to a stop. Now, I wanted to get back live quickly because it changes a couple things. So, number 1, ignore the graphic there. Didn't get to change that before the race started. Number 1, it now eliminates Matt Hayden's fuel worry. Really, everybody's fuel worry is now gone. You can now make, actually, I beg your pardon, it makes it worse. Because now you're going to be pitting on lap 1, let's say 115. And then you're going to be trying to figure out, okay, do I want to save as much as I can? Maybe gamble, try to go a little bit longer on this run so then you can go a little bit longer on that last run and try to gamble and make it? Or do you just bank on 2 stops, run as hard as you can, and try to put as much track position up that you can justify a splash pit stop on that last run to the end? It's going to be a question mark now, and it also allows the 5 of Rusty Modesty back onto the lead lap. See, for the last 2 seasons in this series, we did not have the lucky dog rule. It's kind of in the spirit of being throwback, but now that the schedule has diversified to include tracks that are on the 2024 NASCAR circuit, the rules have done so as well. The lucky dog and double foul restarts make their debut this season, and as such, Rusty Modesty's been granted a lifeline. So Modesty back on the lead lap. And now the fuel worries grow for our top cars, with potentially 2 pit stops now remaining or a gamble at trying to win the race. We are going to go back green on lap 85 of 150. Leaders now have a lot to think about. I almost try to run long here. Almost try to go 32 laps, 33 laps, and that way when you come back on the racetrack, you can go the same, 32, 33, and you could make it on one stop. My question to the leaders is, what were they undercutting? I mean, they had to have been undercutting by a lap, been on lap 29. Schrader went to 30. Now, my question for Christian Schrader would be, was that as far as that car would go, or was it just, okay, the rest of the leaders pit, I have to pit next time by, or I'm cooked, for lack of a better term. My goose is cooked. Are they going to top off? McLaughlin will. That's an interesting call. Top three stay on the racetrack. Let's see if Modesty comes to top off. No. It's Brandon McLaughlin. I kind of like that call. Why not come back and get a lap of extra fuel? Why not gamble in your first race? Here we go. Green flag going to come back out. 66 to go. And we're going to find out what the leaders decide to do. Hayden, Strader on the front row. Mano-a-mano again. Rusty Modesty's got to drive through some traffic, but he's back in the race. Green flag is back in the air on lap 86. It's an incredible jump for Matt Hayden, and he's off and running into turn number 1. Behind him, they'll battle for second. Carlson on the bottom. Strader on the top side. Carlson not quite going to complete the pass. Strader trying to get as quickly into second as he can to try to run down Matt Hayden. Oh, man. Strader, he's trying not to get stuck behind the 32, but he may just. It's going to be close. Carlson can almost take it. He's not going to get it. Strader will try everything he can to haul that car around the outside. What a pass by Christian Strader. Rusty Modesty now starts to make headway. He's trying to get back to the top 2. Hayden by 0.6. And now the pit questions. The pit contemplating begins. What do you do on this pit stop? Strader to second, but he's getting driven away from. .63 laps to go. And Matt Hayden is in control of this race. Modesty's not been able to make up a ton. He's still stuck behind Brandon McLaughlin, but he's on the bumper. He's through the traffic, and now he'll start to work. To the inside for 4th. Modesty. Good drive through the center. Can he clear up? It's close. Not quite. He'll now be able to clear up on corner entry. And now he sets his sights on Hunter Carlson. Big slide for Brandon McLaughlin. He makes the save. He's going to lose a lot of time. And now, Modesty has eyes forward again. Matt Hayden up front. 60 laps to go from Nashville. When will the leaders pit? How far will they take it? Seven laps to go, and you're looking for that 120 number. I think, again, maybe completely wrong. I'm not sure. The question at hand is now, when Christian Schrader ran 30 laps, was that 30 as far as he could go? Could he have gone 5 more? Was his hand forced by the race leader pitting? In that case, it was Matt Hayden. Or excuse me, no, it was the other way around. Hayden pit when Schrader was the leader, and Schrader said, okay, well, I have to pit now. Was it that? Or was it, this is the furthest I can go? That becomes the question on the minds of the leaders. They're looking at those fuel gauges. They're looking at those numbers and deciding right now, okay, if I can't make it, how do I want to split up this last run? Do you run it out both times? Just hope that you get close enough you can just splash at the end? Do you take a little bit less on this one? Try to make your pit stop a little bit shorter, and that way you can make up the time at the end? Do you try to gamble and go for one? Boy, this is going to be an interesting one. .53 laps remain, and Schrader has caught Matt Hayden, and Modesty has caught Hunter Carlson. Battles on the racetrack for meaningful positions, one of them for the race lead. Here's Modesty. If he can get past this 32 car, the leaders are all of a sudden going to have their hands full. Modesty's got to get up on his horse and go, though. Can't afford to wait very long behind Hunter Carlson. You got to go. Leader's under a blanket. Schrader is there and now presses the issue. Off turn 4. Door shut once. Back to the outside. Door shut twice. Schrader looks low. No cigar. Hayden holds the lead for now. Can he hold him off? Down the backstretch. Schrader rolls up to about a half car length back. He'll roll up towards the fence. He'll try to come rocketing off turn number 4. Right behind the leader, but he steps out. The car steps out and he loses a little bit of time. 20 laps until that magic number, unless these guys can go a little further. Brandon McLaughlin, did he make the call of the race? Coming to pit a second time. Under that caution flag. Schrader continues to hound, but he hasn't gotten closer than he was a moment ago. 48 laps to go at the line. Hayden by a car length. And it's interesting as these two have focused on each other. Hunter Carlson has now entered the conversation. He's only 2 seconds back. Thirty, 48 laps to go. We're starting to close in on when that final pit strategy is going to present itself. Who will make the race-winning call? Hayden just hit the go button a little bit again. Lap 104. He starts to slowly try to drive away. Cloud cover over turns 1 and 2. Not sure it's changing the racetrack much. He's starting to drive away again. Is Matt Hayden. Just a little, not by much, but he started to drive away just a little bit again. It's half a second. It's 3 seconds on the 3rd and 4th place cars. Four laps to go. Now you're about 10 laps short of really kind of in crunch time making that decision of what do I do? Do I pit? Do I try to gamble? We're getting close to it. Now as Modesty and Carlson fade into the distance. Although it is interesting, Modesty has gotten past Hunter Carlson for 3rd. It seems as if this has become a 2-horse race. We'll see what Modesty can do now that he's clear, but he's not gaining anything. In fact, he's losing time right now to the leader. So, seeing if he can do anything, but it's not looking great right now for Rusty Modesty. Still no sign of pit stops from the leaders. 41 laps to go. 30 laps we know for sure is safe. We saw Christian Schrader do it. Anything 30 laps or less is safe. Anything outside of that, we're not sure. Matt Hayden comes back to the start-finish line. It is 40 laps to go in the Music City. Matt Hayden trying for an unprecedented first broadcasted win in the Throwback Series. Christian Schrader's got a number of those. I'd like one more. They race on the racetrack for track position, but the ultimate race is going to be fuel mileage. 39 laps to go with the line. We're 9 laps short of being able to for sure make the end of the race. Into the wall goes Christian Schrader. Modesty is on pit road now. Is that an omen for the leaders? Are they way short? I mean, at this point, it wouldn't even be close. Let's see if these two lead cars come down pit road. Hayden, he's slowing up a lot. He will come to pit road. Will Schrader match him? He tries. And he'll get it to pit road and gain a lot of time. Staying on the speedway is Brandon McLaughlin. Will he try to gamble? We'll see. He's got to get another 8 laps. He wants to be sure about it. There we go, another. This is going to be a crux point of this race. If McLaughlin can make it on one stop, all of a sudden he's in the driver's seat for a win in his first start. He'll go at least this time. Let's see if he pits when he comes around. 36 laps, I think, is too much. If you get it down closer to 32, you can almost justify it. He'll run another. Okay. Brandon McLaughlin inherits the lead. Hayden Schrader will unlap themselves most likely here in just a moment. Now, notably, it's starting to get a little bit dark. I certainly hope the lights come on. If they don't, it's going to be very interesting last 30 laps of the race. McLaughlin pits. Okay, so they'll have to go 35 laps. I don't know if that's possible. We'll see, but I don't see him being able to make 35 laps. We'll wait and see. Now the question is, Matt Hayden, these guys, I don't know, they definitely can't make 38. The question now is, do they split it in half? Do they run it all the way to the end, take a splash? Assuming it cycles out, this will be the race for the win. Odyssey is 3.6 seconds back and fading. Hayden leads by 9/10 of a second. Four laps to go. Both of these men have run incredible races, Hayden and Schrader. Both have done things that I thought justified them winning the race. And now it's just time to go get it. With a light field, the championship points aren't going to change a lot. It'll be about a 5-point difference, a 5-point gain tonight for Matt Hayden. But compound it with another gain last week in a race that I believe Christian Schrader missed. And this could be doing a lot more than for Matt Hayden than we'd think. One of the original drivers in Season 1 of this series, the only thing that has escaped him, he's won multiple times, the only thing escaping his grasp is a championship. Ironically, in an almost fateful twist, much like the man whose paint scheme he runs tonight and almost every week, Mark Martin. He did a lot of winning, but the championship never found his grasp, and that has been Matt Hayden's story so far in this series. But he's looking to change that. But here comes Christian Schrader. A man who's done more winning over the last season and a half than anyone in this series. And the most winning in this series by a man not named Tyler Bentley. And he's looking for one more, and he's looking to steal away a spirited effort by Matt Hayden that saw him undercut the field early, and he has not looked back. But Strader looms, and he starts to get a little bit bigger, and you start to maybe peak a little bit if you're Matt Hayden and say, all right, I got to drive a little bit harder, knowing a pit stop we assume is still in the cards for the race leaders. Sun is back out over on the 1 and 2 side of the racetrack, as half a second separate our top 2 race cars. Matt Hayden trying to hang on for back-to-back victories in this series. For one of the first and only times ever. I believe the only other time it's happened, I think, was Christian Strader, either last season or this season, when he was able to win back-to-back races, as well as Tyler Bentley when he won 3 straight in Season 1. Hayden trying to join that club of back-to-back winners. He won a week ago in North Wilkesboro, but there was no broadcast for it. He won last season at Watkins Glen. There was no broadcast for it. He is 27 laps away from another victory in this 3rd season. But Strader looms. And now he's within 0.4 of a second. If you want to beat him, you're going to have to hold him off. With 27 laps to go. Now we expect these guys on pit road somewhere around the ballpark of lap 142. That's about when I would expect him to come to pit road. You might just see Matt Hayden undercut. I would not be surprised. But then, if he does, Strader may try to attempt that as well. That's why the undercut doesn't work as well when you're leading the race. Because then the guy behind you can just follow you. Strader's far enough back right now that he could just follow Hayden to pit road like he just did on that last run. Whereas if Strader wants to undercut here, he absolutely can. He's half a second back, and Hayden would never see it coming. But I would assume, with a 5.5 second lead on 3rd, that these guys are going to take a splash of gas and leave. If I were them, you're only going to be running about 8 laps on tires by the time you run the tank out. I would take fuel and leave. Because the guys behind you, at least the ones in contention, that's Modesty and Carlson, they're not going to take 4 tires. They're going to lose too much time. They're going to have to do what you do. And if they do take 4 tires, then their race is over. So you have to just take a splash and leave. Get out of the box and hope the tires hang on for about the last 7 laps you'd be running under green. You could also cut this run in half. Not worry about the splash. Maybe taking half a tank, you'd be able to take right side tires and make your car a little bit better. For now, status quo. 23 laps to go. Hayden leads by half a second over Christian Strader. 6 seconds over Rusty Modesty. We'll go out to the wide camera. There you see the gap between the 2 leaders. Half a second, 22 laps to go in the Music City. Can Matt Hayden hang on for a second victory here in Season 3? Will Christian Strader fight back to get his 3rd victory of Season 3? Both championship contenders, both previous race winners, 2 of the heavyweights. And the gloves are off. Hayden now by 0.6. For now, holding serve. How long does that last before Strader gets impatient? Somebody's car is just falling off the pace here in front of the leaders, I think. Never mind, maybe not. 0.8 of a second. Well, now Strader drives some of it back, but it's 7/10 off turn 4. Hayden slides a little bit. 20 laps to go, and about 10 to 15 until that final pit stop. Who gets the job done in Nashville? Somebody's shutting the car off. What car is that? That's what I was hearing. I'm pretty sure. Oh, man. Throw a wrench in that. Oh, boy. Well, here's the thing for Brandon McLaughlin. He is turning the car off on corner entry, but he's losing a lot of time to the leaders. I'm not sure even if he can make it, if he'd be able to pace it around and get past the leaders while they're on pit road. It'd be close. And then at that point, he might be able to hold them off because I don't expect these guys to take tires. Oh, my goodness. Modesty comes to pit road now. He undercuts the field. He's going to try to win it on new tires, I would imagine. Big slide. Hayden down the racetrack. He lost it in 1 and 2. Strader to the outside. This is for the lead. But I think it's because, well, I think it's because Matt Hayden is coming to pit road. And he will. Hayden pits with 18 to go. Strader has to now match with 17 to go. He has no choice. McLaughlin will stay out. You hear him shut the car off and save all the way through the corner, much like Austin Collins did. And here comes Strader to pit road, and that will hand the lead over to the 81 of Brandon McLaughlin. Does he have enough gas? Next time by, 15 laps to go, and it's a fuel mileage gamble for the 81. His first ever start in the Throwback Series. He's going to try to gamble. Strader's not off the jack. Now he comes down off the jack. Hayden's only in turn 4. Strader undercuts Hayden. He takes less fuel or takes perhaps no tires. Hayden now riding past turn 1. He'll come almost to the back bumper. Strader's on it though. Strader's on the gas and he beats him on the pit stop. Oh my goodness. But it's all for naught if McLaughlin saves enough fuel. Okay, if Strader did indeed do less on the pit stop, which I would anticipate that he did. I mean, he was 4 seconds faster, and he pit a lap later. So my guess is 2 or no tires on the 29, where the 6 may have taken them, and in fact, it definitely looks like it. Although their lap times are somewhat similar right now. Not a ton of delta difference. $14 to go. I think McLaughlin's losing too much ground regardless to Christian Strader here to justify this strategy, but oh, Hayden cuts 3/10 out of it right there. From Strader, that is. We got 2 battles to watch here. Does Brandon McLaughlin have enough fuel? And can Matt Hayden run down Christian Strader? $13 to go. Next time by, it will be 12. And the gap is not changing between Strader and Hayden. $12 to go. At this pace, Strader will catch him in 5 laps. So even if he does manage to get enough, I don't know if it'll matter because I think Schrader will run him down. That lap I don't think was quite as much of a difference. 31.31. Schrader goes 30.17, only 1.1 seconds faster. At that pace, he'll catch him now in about 5 to 6 laps. Okay, McLaughlin has turned the car back on. He's not turning the car off in the corners anymore. As such, his lap times are going to get a little bit quicker. 31.05. Schrader goes 30.23. At that pace, he won't catch him for the next 7 laps. And he'll catch him with 3 laps to go. Hayden is trying everything he can. He's not going to have enough laps, I don't think, to cut away at Schrader's lead. Well, he's got it down to 3 seconds even. That time by 31.04. Schrader goes 30.37. At that pace, he won't catch him for about the next 8 laps. If McLaughlin has saved enough fuel, he may just win this race. It's going to be close. 8 laps to go. Well, I'm talking about Schrader and Hayden. McLaughlin may have called the strategy of the year. 31.10, 30.38 for Schrader. At that pace, he will catch the 81 car if he continues to run about 7/10 quicker. It'll be close, but he will catch him. Seven laps to go. And now my question is 31.05 there for McLaughlin, 30.39 for Schrader. He still will catch him, but it's going to be basically at the white flag. And my question is, how fast can he pass him? Again, getting there is one thing. Passing him is another. This is a guy in his first start that's inches away. He can almost taste victory lane. 6 laps to go. 31.07. Schrader, 30.41. He's right on pace to meet him at the white flag. Can McLaughlin hang on? Or will Schrader or Matt Hayden crash the party? He's going to crash his own party. The strategy won't work. McLaughlin pits with 6 to go. He'll give the lead over to Schrader, and it's a valiant effort, but no cigar for Brandon McLaughlin. Oh, man, Schrader's really slow in the middle of the corner. Gap's down to 2.7. He doesn't have much to worry about here. Hayden has to gain half a second per lap for the remainder of the race. I don't think he'll do that. He's down to 2.6. He'll need a yellow at this point, and it's just not going to happen for him. As of right now, the curse will live on. In broadcasted races, Matt Hayden, oh man, he's going to blame me for this one. The pit strategy just doesn't work out, and I'll be curious to know just how Schrader flipped that track position at the end of this race and continue to maintain the lead. 3 laps to go, but I'll have to ask Schrader because now I'm curious how he made this work. He almost spins the car. Holy cow, that was almost disaster. Oh my goodness. Right when I started talking, now I'm starting to wrap up and do the kind of the closure of this race, and Schrader almost bends the car with 3 laps to go. Oh my goodness. 2 laps to go. Next time by, you'll see the white flag. He's got to hit his marks 4 more times, twice on each end of the racetrack, and he'll go home with win number 3. Hayden's going to get to within 2 seconds. That's as close as he will get. And the champ, after missing North Wilkesboro, I think we missed North Wilkesboro. He missed last week or he's missing next week. I think it's last week that he missed. But this time, he'll see the white flag. He started on the pole. Of this race, drove away early, got logged back on pit stops, and undercut on the final stop of the night to get win number 3. He's the defending champion of the series for a reason. And off turn 4, he's going to continue that quest for back-to-back. Christian Strader wins it in Nashville. Over Matt Hayden second. It'll be Rusty Modesty that comes home with a well-earned 3rd place finish. But the champ wins again. He'll do his celebration here on the front straightaway as the winner in the Music City. As he will celebrate again as a winner in the Throwback Series, Christian Strader, the Reese's Fast Break Chevrolet. Oh, man. He runs at the fence. That probably would be a good place to end the post-race festivities. Well, it's a quick finishing lineup for you before we get to our post-race interviews. As Christian Strader picks up the win, Matt Hayden, a almost inexplicable curse that I put on him. He'll finish second. Rusty Modesty will be third. Hunter Carlson fourth. It's a good, valiant effort from Brandon McLaughlin. I respect the effort to put in to try to make it just to see if it'll work. But he finishes 5th tonight. Rod Sizemore in 6th. Bradley Young in 7th. Michael Wingo in 8th. And Isaiah Dupree did not log a lap. He'll be credited with the 9th position. We're going to go get your top 3 for some post-race interviews. And we're actually going to be able to start right into it, which is a rare occurrence. But they are all 3 ready to go. So we'll get right into it. And we'll start with the man who finished in 3rd. The man who probably had one of the most roller coaster nights. Rusty Modesty in the 5. Hey, Rusty, it's Dawson in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey, how are you?
Well, not too bad. Well, I just kind of said, it felt like, Christian and Matt had pretty easy nights per se, but a roller coaster for you. First off, kind of take me through what happened. We saw you racing with the leaders, come off a pit stop, a lap down, having to get the lucky dog.
Yeah.
What happened in the mid stages of this race?
We were running 1, 2, 3. I think Matt was leading. Christian was behind me. And I realized I didn't call any pit out, and I did the last lap. That's all I had. So when Matt pit, I was going to follow him. I looked in the mirror. Christian was coming hard because I think he could have taken it a lap around. So just decided not to wreck Christian and stay on track, and just didn't have enough fuel to get around. So I ended up riding the starter all the way around the track to come in and pit. So sadly lost some track position there, but was able to get it back. Lucky dog due to the 1 caution. So it ended up working out in the end.
Yeah, 3rd place run for you tonight. It feels like, since last season, you come in right about the time that Christian and them do, and it feels like you've been gaining speed since then. And now tonight it felt like you'd started to put that together. Had what I thought at one point was race leading speed. Even probably could have had that at the end as well. It just didn't quite work out for you. Kind of take me through it, your growth process over the last season or so, because it feels like we're getting closer to the 5-car in victory lane. I can tell we're getting close to it. Kind of take me through the growth process for you.
Yeah, I honestly just getting used to this car because I didn't really drive it until I joined last season. This has been the only time I ever drive it. and I'll be honest with you, I don't put in any practice or anything like that. Jumped into session with like 10 minutes to go and practice and just let it rip. So, honestly, this is just fun for me. I think just getting faster naturally over just practicing, right? Just sitting here doing race after race every week, I think is really just the contributing factor. Keeping up with guys like Matt and Christian, even Hunter, that's tough. They're all very fast and all very good in this car. So if I can squeeze out a third in this instance, man, I'm happy with it.
A good run for you tonight, coming back from some adversity, and you finished third. So before we let you go, I'll give you a chance to give some shout-outs, thank yous you'd like to give here before the end of the night.
Yeah, definitely. Shout out to you up in the booth. Thanks for putting on broadcast. All the friends and family love it. Shout out to all the league admins and OP that put this on every week. It's been a really fun league to join and a good group of guys to race with. Like I said, Christian and Hunter, Matt and I have all kind of we seem to be pretty equal on pace for the most part. It's all down to mistakes, really, and it's been just an absolute pleasure to race with those guys. And we ended up joining up in another league with them as well. So it's kind of cool to see the friends you meet and through this platform. So shout out to those guys having a good race today too. And is that Motorsports or Misfit Motorsports racing team here? Sadly, we don't have Jimmy tonight, but shout out to Jimmy's wife. And yeah, all the people involved. Thanks.
Well, thank you for talking to me here for a second. Congratulations on the third place run. Go enjoy it. Go celebrate. We will see you next week.
Thanks.
Rusty Modesty, the third place finisher here tonight. The latest to the man that I think I might have cursed, and I'll explain that to him in a second as well. But I got to talking about him maybe a little too much. I think the racing gods heard me and took it away from him. But no, nonetheless, we're going to talk to our second place finisher, Matt Hayden, in the 6. Hey, Matt, it's Dawson in the booth. You get a copy?
Dawson, how you doing?
Well, not too bad. Well, I was jokingly just talking about the curse lives on, a race that looks like you were going to win when I'm in the booth. It doesn't end your way.
Yeah.
No, but another good run for you. And again, I say that in jest, but still, looked like you had the race won. What happened on the last pit stop? Christian jumps you by 3 seconds. What happened there? Was it something on pit road for you? Was it something that he did? What happened on that last cycle?
Yeah, he took 2 tires. He rolled the dice on it, and I don't think anybody had thought to try it. And in the green room, I talked to him for a second, and I wasn't sure if he was catching me and then was just gonna try to keep me in front, so that way, because when we would pit about a lap early, that was almost about a second difference in track position. And if it was multiple laps, I mean, we were running about a second and a half faster on new tires. So I kind of thought that he was reeling me in. I felt like he had faster pace, and then when we would gap him, I think he would burn up a little more. So anyway, that last pit cycle, I thought I was being smart. Honestly, I tried to draw him in and bobbled a little bit coming out of 2 to put him on the outside, and then that way maybe I could get another lap on him on the track when we came to pit, keep him to the outside. And that probably was a difference in it, because he made the decision, I think, to switch 2 tires to get out in front of me and just trolled me off. And he didn't lose any speed on 2 tires, so it was a great decision by him, and he ended up winning for it.
Well, still a lot of speed for you tonight throughout the course of tonight's race, and you start to look forward to the end of the season. Now 6 races to go, and Christian's missed a couple. The points are going to be interesting when we get to look at them next week. Are there thoughts of a championship? Is that something that's in your radius right now?
Well, yeah. I mean, we've got to have a goal, and we got to keep trying to. I mean, we're at the point in points where it's a head to head. It's like, playoff style, or I mean, I guess it's really how points used to be, where it's, you get out and it may be a 2-car battle for the last couple of races. So it's the goal is to finish ahead of 1 car, even how bad some of the races are. You just have to, pit strategy and stuff like that now is to against 1 car. So we'll try to do that. It's a pretty big gap though. With this little amount with the points that we run in this league, so We're going to have to rely on leading a lot of laps and then trying to pull it out with some wins. So we'll see. We'll give it a shot.
Well, we're looking forward to it. Well, it's a second place finish for you here tonight in Nashville. So before I let you go, is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, everyone, Misfit Motorsports. Hopefully, we'll have Jimmy back here pretty soon. Thanks to Jimmy's wife, Lindsay, for all that she does for us. I think my teammate Rusty, he had a little racing incident and bounced back with a podium finish with us. So awesome run. Thank you, Dawson, for the broadcast. We'll be putting the name of the league out there, hopefully bumping some of the numbers out here, getting this thing back up. Because I tell you what, and especially anybody watching or that may catch this, or if we throw some clips up, man, this Gen 4s in this league has been a hell of a lot of fun. So hopefully we'll get the numbers up and continue.
Well, we're looking forward to that as well. Congratulations on the second place run tonight. Go enjoy it. Go celebrate. We will talk to you next week.
Thank you, sir.
Matt Hayden, the 6th car, the second place finisher tonight. And at least is the man of the hour. Once again, a winner in this series, the defending champion, Christian Strader in the 29, as he gets the job done here in the Music City. Hey, Christian, it's Dawson in the booth. You got a copy? Well, we'll try that one more time. Hey, Christian, it's Dawson in the booth. You got a copy? All right, we do not appear to have Christian Strader with us right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop him back down there. We'll try for him here and again in a second. Interesting race tonight. Certainly one full of strategy and kind of flip-flop, do what you can kind of racing. And oh, okay, I was wondering what was going wrong. I think it's an issue on my end. But regardless, an interesting race tonight. A fun one to watch, a fun one to call. And as we wait here on trying to hear from Christian Strader. A good one. Looking forward to next week in Charlotte, the backyard of NASCAR. And you heard Matt talking about that the numbers are kind of something that they're looking at, and that is the case. But again, I said it at the beginning of the night. I'll say it again right here. Before we again try to go to Christian Strader, I'm not sure what's going on this end. Maybe that'll do it. Anyway, we go to Charlotte next week. Again, hopefully more numbers, but again, I don't think it's that big a deal. Green flag tonight except for one caution, and it came down to a race. It was half a second between the leaders. It was a lot of fun to watch, and that's what this series is all about. You can have a low car count. It doesn't matter in this series because there is some great racing. Okay, well, now I'm seeing it. That's good to know now. So Christian Strader has to run, and he said to interview Hunter Carlson instead. Well, Hunter's not there either. So an unfortunate turn of events. We got to be coachable here on the post-race show. So we're not going to get to hear from the winner, Christian Strader, unfortunately, tonight. But regardless, a good run for him in the 29 car, and we will get to talk to him. We'll talk to him pre-race next week if we can in Charlotte and get his take on tonight's race from Nashville. Stay on PGR eSports. Head over to the other stream. It's on the channel already. It is PGR eSports Intimidator Superspeedway Series Racing from Talladega in the Xfinity Series cars. Excuse me. I'm headed over to get in the booth with Matt Medler and Austin Green to call that one. That should be a ball of a race. New Xfinity Series aerodynamics packages await us as we get ready to go racing on a Thursday night. Thank you so much for joining me here on PGR eSports for the first ever time. This will be the future home of the OP Racing Throwback Series, so tune in here every Thursday from now on the next 6 weeks as we look forward to the end of this season number 3. My name is Dawson Wise.